Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Believe it or not, Rolly Romero is now the WBA welterweight champion. And this occurred because Boots Ennis vacated the belt and Rolly, as regular champion, he's been upgraded to full fat version, which is, so he is now the official WBA welterweight champ. Where this leaves whoever the interim champ is, I don't know, because there's all these belts with the WBA flying around. And people are going to say, yeah, Rolly's champion, he was given the belt. Well, I don't know whether I'd quite go that far, because that win over Ryan Garcia was very, very good. And that's regardless of the fact that Garcia just wasn't at the races. He didn't mentally look like he was there. He didn't look like he had a game plan. He seems to be that fighter who needs that sort of high aggression, that nervous energy almost, that craziness, that mental tumult to perform. We saw how good he was against Devin Haney, although he was juicing and came in overweight, so make of it what you will. But at least he had the right sort of that crazy like a fox mindset, which no doubt helped him beat Haney, although it was, of course, changed to a no contest, rightly so, because he failed the piss test. And against Rolly, he just looked like a completely different person, never mind fighter. But you can't blame Rolly for that. Rolly floored him in the second round, got up, outboxed him. And for Rolly Romero, who got taken out basically with one punch by Tank in their fight, that was his first defeat, and then got battered, from pillar to post, bounced around the canvas like a basketball on a court by Isaac Pitbull Cruz. For him to come back at a higher weight, it's kind of, I'm kind of glad about it. I don't really know why. I'm just glad that someone who was dismissed and regarded as just when he was WBA 140-pound champ, he got virtually gifted that belt, didn't he, with that awful stoppage over Barroso, terrible stoppage. People were sort of dismissing him and ridiculing him and saying he was, crap. And then when Pitbull knocked him around, people were saying, well, I told you so. The guy was a cheese champion. He was a fake. He's a fraud. He's a charlatan, and so on and so forth. And I was thinking, well, I thought that stoppage against Barroso was very, very early and was a piece of incompetency by the referee. But that's not Rolly's fault. And Rolly still gets in the ring. He still took on Tank. He took on Pitbull. He took on Ryan. It's not like he's ducking anyone. It's not like he's, maybe the belts are not legitimate world champion belts, but at least they're world titles. And the guy's a fighting man. And I'm quite glad that he's kind of landed on his feet here with that win over Garcia. Garcia must be kicking himself, because had he beaten Rolly, had he bothered to turn up for that fight, he'd now be the WBA champ and would be looking at lucrative unifications. But then the impression I got against when he fought Rolly was that Ryan Garcia, I don't think he's that interested in boxing anymore. Okay, you're only as good as your last fight, and maybe that was a little bit misleading. But yeah, Rolly's done it. Rolly's done it. He's got himself a belt. He'll get himself bigger paydays. I think it's really, I'm kind of glad for the guy, do you know what I mean? Now, as WBA champion, he will have to, obviously face his mandatories and so on and so forth. And yeah, he strikes me as the type of guy who will take anyone on. You put enough money on the table and he'll be there. I don't imagine that he's beaten, or I don't imagine he's made a great deal of money. He's probably made enough, because he has fought good men. But unifications with other welterweight champs, I think Brian Norman Jr. would kill him, to be honest with you. I can't be honest. I just don't think he's got a chance against him. I think Brian Norman Jr., now that Boots has moved up, is probably the best of the lot. And it's a shame that him and Boots are not yet meeting. Brian Norman is a young man and may well grow into the 154-pound division, and therefore perhaps he'll fight Bouts at 154. But I was really, really hoping that we would see that that matchup, because that's tantalising. Brian Norman Jr. has looked fantastic in his last 3 fights. Actually, he's looked like a real killer. Not a guy who goes looking for the knockout, but gets them anyway because his technique is so good. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Brian Norman Jr. I think he's terrific. And would I pick him to beat Bouts? I don't know about a junior middle. He'd have a chance, of course, but yeah, I mean, at 147, I was kind of fancying, because I think Bouts was a bit drained at that weight. Now, let's have a look at some of the other junior middles who are with the WBA. I mean, Paddy Donovan and Lewis Crocker are going to fight for, is it the IBF, the vacant IBF belt? Well, they're going to fight for a vacant belt anyway. They fought already, and Paddy battered Lewis and then got disqualified, which is what it is, but they're having the rematch, and it's going to be for one of the belts. So the winner of that could face Rolly. There's always a chance, I suppose, of a Ryan Garcia rematch. Who else have we got? We've got Stanionis is in the mix at 154 now. He's quite highly ranked with the WBA. Even Echo Esserman coming off that win over Josh Taylor. That was at welterweight, but believe it or not, he's actually ranked. Excuse me, beg your pardon. Yes, that was at welterweight in Whitcourse. So he is. That was at welterweight, not light welterweight, of course, because Josh moved up. But he's now ranked, because of that win, in the top 10 or 12 with the WBA. That's a possibility. And Conor Benn, maybe. Why not Conor Benn? I think he's in the top 10, top 5. It might even be the top 5, top 10, certainly, with the WBA. Raul Curiel's another one. Who have I missed out? Gabriel Mestra's still in the mix. Pat McCormack's there somewhere. I mean, these are all possibilities, but people are going to view Rolly Romero as being an easy touch. We'll go for that belt. We'll go for that WBA belt. And it's now up to Rolly and his team to, get the best deal they possibly can. But, I've ruled Rolly out many times. I'm not going to rule him out anymore. There are certain fighters I would certainly expect to beat him, and probably beat him by knockout. But if he can make a defence or two, I think we can say that he's maximised his talent. So yeah, big up Rolly Romero. He's the underdog. He's come through. Everyone likes an underdog story, and he's going to reap the benefits now. What do you think? What do you think of Rolly? How good do you think he is, or how bad do you think he is? Maybe you're still of the opinion that he's just a very lucky champion. Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Please like it if you can, and just hit the like button. Helps us out. They count the likes, still don't know why. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Many, many thanks to all of you, always, for your support. And I'll catch you later. Bye for now.